Woke up this morning, coffee in hand, long cream, my favorite man. Crafty's on the TV, dipping that stone, sitting in Flint, he's in the zone. He's sharing the future with a bit of crack, building legends, ain't no turning back. With every stop, he's picking away of the ancients who thrive back in the day. Crafty on the TV, in that stone carving dreams, never looking back. From Texas to Vermont, chill in the past, and the future's for us. Building the hammer, he's steady and strong, crafting a world where we all belong. Underneath those layers of dust and grit, finds the magic every little bit. A sculptor of stories buried in the ground, each piece he uncovers wisdom abound. With every collision, the sparks start to fly as the old awakens. We question why, digging deeper where the shadows play, reviving old crafts that could fade away. Crafty on the TV, talking that smack, stone carving dreams, never looking back. From Texas to Vermont, Crafty studies us, chiseling the past, building futures for us. Wielding the hammer, he's steady and strong, crafting a world where we all belong. And in this life, we're all just searching for our place in the world, a way to keep working. With the flick of his wrist, he brings forth the light. In every gray morning, he makes it feel right. So gather around, let the stories unfold. Crafty's our guide through the young and the old. With the sun rising high and the day moving on, Crafty carves dreams till the light is all gone. He's shaping the future one chip at a time. With every creation, he's keeping the rhyme. From the heartland of Texas to the mountains of green, the legacy lives on through the stonework unseen. With every perspective, he's showing the way. Crafty keeps going, come whatever may. Crafty on the TV, talking that smack, stone carving dreams, never looking back. From Texas to Vermont, Crafty studies us, chiseling the past, building futures for us. Wielding the hammer, he's steady and strong, crafting a world where we all belong. So here's to the mornings with coffee in hand and Crafty on the screen, the true heart of the land. With a hit and a crack, he's paving the way through stone and through story. He inspires the day.
Hello, hello. Okay. Natural tool night. Horizontal format. I like it. Yep. I do some more arrowheads on there. I'm going to fill this all up with arrowheads around the edges. Yeah. Did you see Stone Hook's cat kill that rabbit? No, I didn't. I've been slacking. I haven't been watching any videos. Yeah, I watched maybe a couple videos and that's it today. I'm trying to cut down on my scrolling and stuff. Let's see. What do we got here? I'm trying to find myself on the YouTubes. Yeah, there I am. Okay, so who do we have? Chris Cox is the first one. Mr. Jim, number 2. Tommy Taylor, Graylin Landry is here. Chris Cox is lagging. Let me know if it continues to lag. I adjusted the lighting. Sometimes the lighting makes it weird. Sundance 54. Doing better now. Okay, so it didn't last. Dawkinstein is here. Ian Hermson, so what's up? Marty Wybe is here. Hello, hello, hello. Your laughter is here. Dawkinstein, you see that stone? Yeah, I did not see Stonehook's cat kill that rabbit. Mr. Jim saw it. Tommy Taylor says hello. Unsubscribed Incorporated. Happy Saturday, Master Jack. Happy Saturday. Yes, yes. Let's see. I missed Brady. It was small. Oh, Marty was at a nap-in today. Yeah, I saw that video. Let's see. Steve Salzgiver. Hey. Stoneface says, what's up, everybody? Marty had a good time at that nap-in. David Rushing, how are you? Enjoy your work. Yes. Thank you, thank you. Red Lemur is here. Okay. So, we got how many people watching? 16 people. Sweet. Yeah. So we all know each other, basically. No newbies or strangers, or maybe just one or two. I might not have to answer any silly questions, but I put that up there just in case. Put the sign up. I got two choices that I chose for myself tonight. This is from the ranch rock that I was spalling and stuff last night. All right, there's a little slight defect in there, so this might not work out. And then I got that snap and half-ish obsidian that I was napping, that big old chunk. I'm going to see if it makes a difference napping with natural tools on this. Oh yeah, this stuff is the same as this big blade here. It's the snap and half-ish stuff that I got from, let's see, Danny Collins. I got it from Danny Collins. This got issues, right? I've got some more of these flakes, so I'm going to try this. We shall see. I'm going to get my tools out. Yep. Get my tools. They all fit in that little bucket. I found my little buckets. These are my favorite. I was looking through rocks yesterday. I said, hey, dang it, I've got just some unused rocks sitting in that little bucket. That's where you've been. And I found the other bucket too. Yeah. Okay, so I need to get more of these little buckets. Yeah. Come in handy. I forget where I got them. So let's try the obsidian first. Yeah. Chris Cox is here. Chris Lithic is here. Hey. What else? Who else? Your laughter says, hey, Jack, any idea how the Mayans used to make the holes in their eccentric rings? Any ideas? Yeah, they drilled it. With what? I don't know. Another stone? You can drill, just like you can abrade stone, you can drill it. But it takes forever. They just drilled holes in the chert with another stone. I think experimental archaeology has figured that out already. But yeah, you can drill chert. And I think they drilled it. Now there's fancy smancy explanations where maybe they held the chert underwater and used a punch or something to punch through there, etc. Blah, 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 ad nauseum. But that's internet culture. I think they already figured it out, that they just drilled it. Okay, I think there's evidence for drilling stones in the Maya culture. I mean, they drilled other things. Whoops! Hey! It did not disappoint. It snapped in half. Almost right off the bat. Well, almost in half. But they're pretty good size for points. Let's see. So I got to be careful. Imagine that. And I'm only tapping it with a little bitty hammerstone. Your laughter says, thanks, Jack. Yep. Let's see. Your laughter says, yeah, that's the conclusion I came to. Drills, something drills with a stick or with sand. Yeah. I think they use pump drills. The Mayas and the Central American Indians, I think they have evidence for pump drills. So they probably used a pump drill and took a couple days to drill the hole and then handed it off to the napper. And they did use punches, obviously. You can't really work the inside of a hole unless you have a punch of some sort. I think a lot of those eccentrics were made with some sort of punches. Yeah. Okay. All right. I don't think very many of those eccentrics were made from obsidian. They look like they were mostly chert. Because obsidian is very snap and heavish. Yeah. For punch work, it's probably very snap and heavish. All right. Anyways, the Mayas had access to lots of chert. Belize, modern day Belize is right next door, and Belize has lots of good chert. Yeah. It's golden color too, so it's nice. It's not the cruddy chert that we usually get here in Texas, or I say here, but when I get my hands on chert, it's usually Texas stuff. And it can be cruddy and very dull looking, not exciting looking. The kind of dull that's not exciting. I didn't mean without shine. It's just dull without being exciting. Okay. So what am I going to do? I got to be like tiptoeing with this stuff. Yes. Well, response to hammerstone, okay. I was able to get a good flick. How did that turkey roaster work out for you, Chris? Okay. I've had limited luck with hammerstones, always snapping my project like that, says Sin Aaron. Yeah. The hammerstones, they don't really work all that great. But, you know, you can get used to them. What kind of obsidian is this? Other than snap and halfish? I've been thinking about that since I talked about, you know, why are people so concerned about what it's called as far as materials go. I've been thinking about what do I do, because I'm going to get that question a lot. I mean, if I'm inviting the public into these videos, since they're not members only videos, I'm going to have to answer that question a lot. What is it? What kind of material is it? What? So I can find some and get some and be awesome. Yeah, I know, but I got to figure out what I'm going to answer. Am I actually going to have to make a list? A little booklet of stuff? And maybe print out some photos and, you know, have a reference book of materials and what are they called, and spend a week or an entire week or two, you know, 7 or 8, 10 days doing the research and creating a little booklet for myself so I can keep track. I can't remember it all. I've tried. And then if I tell them, they go, okay, where can I get it? That's the second question. Who has it? Or I asked on the internet and you told me it was Jefferson City, blah, 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 and no one had any, so what is up? What's up? Yeah, I'm going to have to answer that question too. And then once they get it, I found some. So now I tried napping it and didn't nap like you napped it. It's just a cascade of these questions over and over and over. I don't know. I think I might make these videos members only. Guess how much money I made off the last live stream, and combined with the shorts videos that I do. Like the last live stream and the like 3 shorts videos added up to like $4 with the ads on, you know. All the money I looked at my other videos, and the instructional and tutorial videos are what make the money on this channel, and they're the horizontal format. Yeah. It's so weird, because when I make a horizontal format video, look, there's only like 33 people up here in the little indicator, wherever your indicator is, on the horizontal formats. But on a regular video that's not live stream, those are the ones that make a lot of money, relatively speaking. It makes like 30 times the amount. So if I make $4 on some videos that I do, like a live stream and a few shorts, times that by 30, what's that, 120? You know, 3 or 4 of those instructional videos can add up to that much in a month. So it's interesting. It doesn't make any sense. I've been trying to make sense of that forever. I don't know what it is. Mike Mason says, there's a lot about my conversation that I would be curious about if I cared to get monetized. I see. Sin Aaron says, just goes to show how many people really sit down to enjoy your passion. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. But my subscribers go way up if I make shorts videos and live streams. So a lot of people are subscribing. They just don't watch the horizontal formats. They subscribe for the vertical formats. So I will continue to do live streams every day. I don't know. I think I'm just kidding about the members only. But yeah. I feel like doing members only so I don't get silly questions. And enough of that, yeah. So I don't know. What am I going to do now? This is the easy part's already done on this. I'm going to start indirect percussionizing it. I feel like hammerstoning it. Yeah. Hammerstoning it with my abrading stone. That's what I feel like doing. Why? It's just easier. It extends the easy portion of this napping, although it's not precise. And this stuff is weird. This obsidian acts weird. I'm gonna have to use the indirect percussion. Yeah, there's no way I can thin that down easily with the hammerstone. I can do it more easily with indirect percussion. Now I could do the billet strikes, but you know how that goes with billet strikes on obsidian. I'm a glutton for punishment. Let's just see. I'm afraid to hit it. Come on. Yeah, nice and crushy. See, you didn't think antler would crush it, huh? The internet culture says it doesn't crush. No, because you're not doing it right, you know? Internet culture is always correct. You're just not doing it right. Yeah. Okay, let's see. How does that go? How did that go? Interesting. Interesting. Very nice. But I gotta grind the crap out of it. Contrary to popular belief. Let's see. Yeah. I'm just supposed to barely tap it. That's why I'm missing. I don't want to hit on the first strike, because if you hit on the first strike, it's not as accurate as if you creep up on it. Yeah. You gotta creep up on it to be precise, to be accurate. Because you just need to hit it a little bit. This is obsidian. I don't need to whomp on it. Yeah. Especially hitting it at the base. This is not supposed to be done like this. It is kind of working. If I tiptoe, this seems to be working okay. Just gotta lower the edge a lot, abrade it a lot, and barely tap it. Yeah. Oops. Come on. Sometimes it wants to act tough. This is the area where it's funky because of the... it had some damage due to the way that it was spalled right here in this area. So it may act weird. I don't know if I'll be able to get that turtle back off very easily. Mr. Jim says, have you noticed an uptick in views and subs with the addition of natural tools? Nope. Nope. When I notice an uptick is when I post exotic materials. Like if I'm working on Brazilian agate or something, I get a lot of uptick in viewership. Something like that. If I work something that's exotic, eye-catching, as far as materials go, I get a lot of views. But the natural tool thing actually didn't affect it at all. But I like doing it because I need to practice it. So I'm doing it because I need to practice. Yeah. Besides, a lot of people think that I don't do the natural tool thing correctly. Yeah. They watch other guys do it, and I don't do it like they do it. There are actually different crowds. There's a natural tool crowd. They're stuck in some kind of culture over there. I don't know what they're doing. I don't really participate in that culture, so that's probably why they say I don't do it right. I work natural tools to make stuff that looks like artifacts, because I want to know how they did it back in the day, right? I want to see if I can duplicate it, just out of curiosity. I don't do much natural tool stuff off camera, for obvious reasons, you know. I don't want any of my stuff to fall into the wrong hands and be sold or displayed as real. So when I film it, there's a record of what I made with natural tools. So if somebody's sneaky, we can always have a video to show what's going on. You know, to show how it was made or who made it. That's the theory anyway. Hey, now that's not bad. That actually did it. That did what I was thinking. But I'm going to leave it thick in the middle. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I don't get an uptick in viewership with natural tools. Because I'm weird. They think I'm weird. All right. This actually works good on this stuff. I'm amazed. Either that or I'm just being lucky a lot of times in a row. But no, it's thinning it down.
Okay, well, what material is this, and what angles are you using, how much force, and what's the vectors? I need numbers, dude, bro.
No, you're not going to get no numbers. It's for us to nap and you to find out. Steven Salzgiver says, my wife wants to know where Kevin is. Kevin is in Texas enjoying the weather. It was like 102 yesterday or something like that. Weird temperatures or whatever. Yeah, he's in Texas. He's with his siblings. We used to have 7 or 8 dogs, right? And now we're down to 4 or 5. We gave away, or my daughter gave away a couple of dogs because they were, 2 dogs were given away because they really didn't like being part of the group. They were very independent. So we gave them away. Or she gave them away. Kevin he's up to his old tricks. But my son, one of my sons has adopted him basically. Sleeps in my son's room. Yeah. Once in a while. Not every day, but once in a while my son says, yeah, Kevin likes to come in the house and he ends up in my room and I let him stay. So I said, cool. Especially in wintertime. They don't even... I used to put the kennels in the house in wintertime and put everybody in the kennels, but now they just free roam now. Now that I'm not there, I don't like them free roaming because they pee everywhere. So but they don't care. They just say, yeah, it's no big deal, Dad. We just get the paper towels and wipe it up. Yeah, I know. But it's nasty. And the house doesn't smell good. Yeah, but they're so cute, Dad. Yeah, I know. I guess the cuteness makes up for the nastiness. But yeah, now I can keep my house clean now because I'm by myself. Yeah. I like that part. 113 degrees in southern Nevada. Dang. Holy moly. Nevada? That's terrible. That is very terrible. How many people have died? Yeah, that stuff is serious. I bet you the homeless are going, oh, I should have gone to California. This is terrible. Need to hitch a ride over to the coast. This actually works not bad. Not too bad. I mean, I'm removing a lot of the edge and stuff, but it's not bad. It's just going to make sure I grind the edge on the snap and halfish stuff. We'll see if it stays complete or if I'm going to have trouble with it. I'm not having much trouble with it. It looks pretty good. But this is relatively easy. The hard part is thinning it down further than this. Annabis Doberman. Now, I heard Sal pronounce that, and it wasn't Annabis. It was something else. I don't know. I can't remember if I'm pronouncing it right. Annabis Doberman. What's up? David Rushing says, when you're by yourself, you're in good company. I wish. Yeah. Sometimes I don't like myself. No. No. I don't even like watching my own videos now. I used to watch my own videos a lot back in the day when I still didn't really understand what's going on with Flintknapping. I wanted to try to understand all the weird physics. Strange physics. I still don't understand it, so it didn't do me any good. Yeah. Anyways. it's a lot better now that I can control my environment. Yeah. I have control over my environment now. It's so much better. Anubis. Tommy Taylor says Anubis. Hello. Anubis. Is that how you pronounce it, Mike? Anubis? Oh, come on, you can do it. I know you can do it instead of chewing on the antler. Did it do it? It's doing it. I'm amazed. Yeah, it did it. It's getting thinner. It's removing a lot of the edge, but it's getting thinner. Thin enough to haft. That's the goal, is getting it thin enough to haft it. Once it's thin enough for the haft, we're good to go. Yeah. Still a little bit more, I think, before I test it out. I'll test it out on one of the foreshafts. And I'm being very careful to only take a little bit at a time. Okay? That's why it's taking me forever. I'm being very careful. I'm tiptoeing through the tulips with this stuff, which probably is a good idea. There's a little bit of step fracturing going on, but it's okay. We don't need no stinking smooth surfaces. Artifacts don't always have smooth surfaces. There we go. Look at that. Can't see. You can't see, but still look at it. Just look at it. Yeah, I think it's thin enough for it to haft. We have to haft. Yeah. We have to haft. We got hafts because we have to hafts. I made new handles and stuff. This is a very primitive handle. Ooh, that fits. Almost fits. So that's a very primitive handle. Still got the bark on. I think this is maple or cherry. I forget. Probably maple. Let's see. This is another primitive little handle. Almost fits. Let's see. What else? What else we got? I made a bunch of these new ones. It's still too thick for this. This handle. This is a little bit too big. Yeah. It's still too fat. Dang it. I don't want to hit the base anymore. Which is the one that almost fits in? This one? Yeah, see, I think this might work. Just a little bit thinner and we're in business. Yeah. Why did I leave the bark on? I don't know. I just thought it was interesting. Mac Bales is here. Charles Rooker is here. Hello, Patrick. I missed 2 or 3 of your live streams, but had a Crafty rerun marathon. I like the chicken poo point. Cool. What's the chicken poo point? It's this one here. I like it too. I've been looking at it. I've been gloating.
What did you say?
I've been gloating. Yeah. I've been gloating over this one. Can't see it with the background I got right now, so let's see. Yeah. Well, still not going to be able to see. I like it. But it's going for sale. I'm not going to have it much longer. It's going up for sale. Getting rid of it. Because it's just going to end up in a box or something. If I keep it. My keeper case is usually just a box. It's not a case. I don't have cases for my stuff. I have one case and I keep my templates in that case. Alan Cole is here. Let's see. I found 2 bars of service. Patrick is the only sound in the wilderness. The only sound? You don't have owls and stuff out there? You don't have owls, crickets, and frogs? Peepers? You gotta have peepers. I know you got peepers out there. Well, maybe not this early in the season. Mr. Jim, favorite point right there. Yeah, I saw your case, Mr. Jim. You're developing a case of Pedernales points. Yeah, it's growing. I saw it. All right, so the next stage on this is to get it thinner than this because it still doesn't fit in the haft. And this is one of the widest notched handles I got. It still doesn't fit. So I'm fixing to get it fit. Fixing to get it to fit. All right, let's see. Let's see if I can be persnickety about this and get some of these flakes to thin this down. Oh, yes. Like that. Yeah, like that. Cool. Okay. I can't rush it though, because as soon as I start having good luck, I tend to go faster and faster, and that gets me into trouble. I can't rush this. I need to thin it down just a little bit more. Those flakes ran across here pretty good, but not quite good enough yet. Come on. Nope. Yeah, it wants to be tough, but it is working okay. Yeah, it's working okay. I got a land bridge going right now. See, I did 2 flakes, boom, boom, and then now there's a land bridge. The only way to get rid of those is to strike from the base. And it wants me to do it so it can break. Yeah. All right, we'll see. Oh, it's going to want me to hit it hard, hard, hard. Ah, come on. You know you can do it. No, it didn't make it. It did it, but I mean, it produced a flake, but not good enough. It is producing flakes, but they're not good enough. It's not doing it. I gotta set up the edge a little bit better. Not as much grinding. Find that sweet spot. Take off some of the grinding and regrind it with less grinding. Yeah. So that's a little bit less grinding than before. Let's see if that does it. Or if it crushes it like it was doing on the sides. Yeah. It didn't. Did it do it? It tried to do it. It went up a little bit. It didn't go all the way to the... It didn't go all the way. Dang it. Yeah, see that step fracture right there. I have to teach it a lesson and strike harder. Oh man, I deposited some antler. Yeah, I made a little antler deposit. Yeah. Let's see if that did it. Hit it super hard. No? Well, I tried to do it. Big old step fracture. Guess that's better than a land bridge. Let's see. Is that incomplete or is it an actual real step? I mean, is that an undetached or actual real step fracture? I think that's an actual real step fracture in there. It's not just undetached. It's a real nasty step fracture. Yep. But I probably can half it now. It's thinner. There. It fits. Even with the nasty step fracture. It's hidden. If you use a deep notch, it can hide all kinds of mistakes. Oh yeah. That's what I like. Now it's even loose now. So yeah, that did it. It's hitting the bottom of that notch. So now all I gotta do is sharpen it, right? I don't need to remove that stinking step fracture. Do I? Probably have to do it. Still got a lot of time left. Yeah. Let's see. I got a feeling we're going to be hitting Step Fracture City pretty soon. We're coming up on Step Fracture City. It'll be on the left. Yep. So what am I doing? I'm going to try to get rid of the step fracture. Yeah. Because I don't like them. Even though, you know, some people believe that certain mistakes are actually technologies. Like when you have a step fracture on a Clovis, they think that's part of the technology. They don't realize that if you apply some physics, you'll know that it's a weak spot. Any step fracture on any point is a weak spot. Because there's stress concentrations between the thinner area and the thicker area. It concentrates stress right there at the junction. So if there's any stress on the point, it'll break there. Okay? But they don't see it that way. They see it as something cool. It looks cool, therefore it is cool. You can't just be correct. You gotta be cool and correct. Yeah. No, you don't have to be cool and correct. You just need to be correct. Yes, did I get it? Yep, but I put the step fracture on the other side. Oh, wait a second. What is going on? I cleared off most of that step fracture, but the step fracture actually ran deeper than I thought. Yeah, I hit it from the side here to clear that off, but look how far that flake actually ran. It dived in a little bit. Yep. Man. And I tried to pull that flake out of there, but it didn't move. Let's see. Should I try to thin it more or just leave it? Because if I try to thin that more, you know what happens. Let's see if I can at least make it look a little better. Less pronounced. Yeah. It's less pronounced now that I ran a separate flake right there. I ran this flake. Let's see if anything's loose. No, it's stuck. If there's anything loose, it's stuck. I mean, if anything is going to come out of there, I'll have to pry it out with more force. But yeah, there's still a step fracture in there, and hopefully it doesn't go any further than that. See, it wanted me to hit really, really hard before, but that's what it does. Yeah. It wants to break. So what do I do now? Well, I just keep going and see what I can do to make it look better. Working on the other side now. We got a bunch of flakeriness going on the other side. I might not be able to run a big flake to get rid of that, but I'd like to. See how flakery that is? I would like to have some bold flakes like these up here. And I just need to run a thin, wide flake. That's it. And I should be able to do it on obsidian especially. Ooh, it wants me to hit extremely hard on that. Okay. Yep, it does. Come on. Is it going to do it? I'm changing my position slightly on the edge every time. Yeah, we've arrived at Step Fracture City. Yeah. It's not going to cooperate. It tried to do it. Yeah, the only way to clean that surface up is to make it more narrow. Yeah. And then run flakes across. And then we can put it in a different haft. Yeah, let's see if we can put it in something else. We got plenty of time, so I'm probably going to just try to eliminate as many of those step fractures as possible. No, this one looks like it might work once I get it thinned down a little bit more. Yeah, so we can try hafting it into this handle once we get it smaller. Because I really don't like all that nastiness. I don't like that step fracture. Yeah, last stop for the night, Step Fracture City. I'm afraid to hit this more, but I'm gonna have to do it. Dang it. But yeah, if I make a point that fits into this one, it's gonna have to be smaller anyways. So I'm trimming it with my abrader. Hammer stoning it to make it more narrow. I'm going to try not to abrade it too much because it doesn't like too much abrading. It wants it just right. Not too much, not too little. Yeah. Haven't even started pressure flaking on this. I should start pressure flaking to improve the edge quality slightly. Maybe. Kind of, sort of. Let's see if I can get it thin enough for the haft first. It's been chewing on the antler a little bit. In case you're wondering what I'm using, it's a piece of quartzite that's just been split in half with bipolar percussion. Yeah, it is what it sounds like. It's percussion with some kind of mental illness. Yep. You know, that worked okay. Not too shabby. How about that? How about that? Yeah, it doesn't like it. But we know that already. That one didn't complete. That one step fractured at the very end, but it's not bad. Oh, don't tell me another lamb bridge. Let's see. Yeah. It wants me to hit it way too hard. See, the first one, step fracture right there. Second one should have been easy, right? But no, it didn't want to do it. So now I got a land bridge. Land bridge. Yeah, it's a Flintknapping term. You didn't know? Yeah. Come on. It's gonna need some heavy duty persuading, and it's starting to get too thin in the middle. I gotta thin the tip down before I start doing middle strikes again. Okay, so I'm going to be working on the tip to get that thin down so it's not hanging out there with a bunch of mass on it. I'm hitting in the middle, so it puts a lot of stress. I don't want extra mass on the top. Okay. Okay. And yeah, everybody that is watching is probably very accustomed to what I'm saying, and they know what I'm talking about, right? Yep. Okay. Unsubscribed Incorporated is here. Sharpened wood arrows were common, like you were saying in a short about points and whatever. Good arrow making included just a sharpened, well-balanced projectile. Oh, yes. That is correct. Let's see, do I have my book, my other book out here? I have another book that shows some wooden arrows, wooden Comanche arrows that don't have any steel or stone tips. They're just wood tips. But I don't have that book with me. I thought I had it because I got 2 copies of that book. I thought I'd be smart enough to have one in the shop, but no. Yeah, this is too thick. I can't see what I'm doing. That pressure flaker is too thick. I can't see what I'm doing. It is important to be able to see the edge, especially with finicky materials. Oops, that slipped a little bit. Yeah, I could say that was a controlled slip, and I meant to do that. But no. Very little is actually controlled in Flintknapping. You play the odds. And you live with what you get. The odds are in the house's favor, and the house is always the rocks. Yeah, you've got to be very good at playing cards or whatever it is to beat the house. That's how it is in Flintknapping. The rock is always the house. It has the advantage. You've got to figure out how to be sneaky with it and beat the house. Yep. No. Yes. Yes. Okay. I'm glad it's not giving me too much trouble. Now this is that smoky obsidian stuff. The little shards are very, very nasty. So I'm constantly brushing them away because I get little shards in my arm. And I can sit there at night and scratch them out. When I go in the house after a napping session, sometimes I can't get them out. I probably have little bitty shards in under my arm here in various places. But I know I've got one in there if it's itchy. Yeah. Anyways, just so you know what you're getting yourself into if you want to do this thing. Why am I napping obsidian? Well, I wanted to see how this obsidian reacts with natural tools. It wants me to grind these edges a lot on this particular type of obsidian. It crushes so easily. And I don't like the way that looks when it crushes. Yeah, see that crushed look? You can kind of pick it out, but it's still going to be crushy looking. Okay. I'm not going to mess with it too much on the edges when they're all crushed, because I could be here all day. But after I do maybe a dozen of these, let's say it was back in the day, because you got to make more than one at a time, because you're going to make a set. Usually these were made more than one at a time. You get used to them, and then you can stop crushing the edges, because you can make subtle changes. You won't be able to see it on video, but subtle changes can cause the non-crushing. I can't tell you what not to do, except not to crush it. There's very subtle differences in the edge preparation and how much force to use and at what angle, but they're very subtle differences. They're not noticeable differences. Yeah, I'm still crushing that edge, but not in a good way. Need to grind it some more. Yeah, as the flakes become longer and longer, you need to change the amount of abrading, change the amount of force, slightly change the angle, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes they change the tool size. But see, it's got a lot of little crushings on it. And they're cleanly popping. It's not going, right? it's cleanly popping the flakes, but it's still getting crushing. So that's the frustration. Usually when the flakes are popping off cleanly or sounding like they are, that means you're not getting a lot of crushing. But in this case, you could be doing everything right, and there it goes. It crushes. And a lot of it has to do with the size of the tool tip. I can't use something really, really skinny. This is probably the smallest diameter I can use and still be effective and not ruin the antler. And it helps that this is a brow tine. This is the toughest tine on the antler. The brow tine is what you should be using for pressure flaking. People say, no, you're supposed to use regular antler tines, the long ones. No, use the brow tine. Okay? Crushed edges make you throw up a little bit there, Ralph. Funny. Yeah. So let's see if I can thin down that tip a little bit more. But I'm going to use indirect percussion now. I just use pressure on the very tip. Indirect percussion requires more grinding. As a general rule, yes. Indirect percussion requires more grinding whether you're using metal or antler or whatever. It doesn't matter what material you use, indirect percussion always requires more grinding because it's a lot more focused force. And the more you focus the force, the more crushing and stuff happens in that one little spot. So you've got to make sure you're grinding it so it doesn't crush a lot. Okay, let's see. That's what it's not supposed to do. It's not supposed to step fracture right away. It's supposed to be a nice clean flake because antler supposedly generates longer flakes. Supposedly. But no, I don't like it. You gotta force it. See, that was a two-stage flake. I only wanted to go a little bit, but I forced it more with more follow-through, and it pushed more of the flake. See that? There's two areas where it flaked. This first scooped out area was probably where it wanted to go, and that's it. But with the follow-through, I can force it more. I tried follow through with this side, and it just scooped it. It didn't push the rest of the flake. And this, for some reason, when I pushed the rest of the flake, it didn't fan out very much. Like a little brat. It's supposed to fan out. Anyways. I don't know what it's doing. It has a mind of its own. Let's see if that did something. Oh, that's not too bad. It is getting thinner. At least. Yes, I felt something. Well, that's not bad. That was a big old flake. Yeah, that's not too bad. That's what it's supposed to do. Now I just need 10 more just like that. Yeah, I wish. It's a gamble. It's not definite. Just because I get one good flake doesn't mean the rest of them are going to be good. Even if I do everything right. You never know what's happening. It could be chewing on the antler, which changes the tool tip. There could be incipient cracks on the edges. There could be hard or soft spots on the obsidian, etc., etc. Okay, all right. Yeah, obsidian is not always consistent. And chances are, if it's inconsistent, you're going to get one like that. If there's a possibility for that type of obsidian to be inconsistent, you can pretty much count on you getting one of those. Yeah. Okay? All right. Just so you know. So that one almost went far enough to affect that step fracture, but not quite. But I think what I can do is hit it from the other side. Yeah. Get most of that cleared up. Hopefully. Hopefully, cross your fingers. Maybe I can push this flake. I don't know. It's dicey. There's some major steppage going on. Let's see if that's if I need to detach any of that. Well, some of it came off. Yeah, some of it is coming off. But it still looks nasty, right? We're not done yet. There's still a lot left. Anyways, it looks bad right now, but I think it can be fixed. All right, doesn't want to nap there. Fine, we'll just move over to the other side. Be that way. It did a scoop out again. Okay. It's up to its old tricks. What's the matter? The edge is not perfect. It's never perfect. The edge wants to be perfect, but it doesn't understand that the edge is never perfect. You can get it close, I guess. Let's see. Hard hit sometimes yields good results. We're going to gamble and cross our fingers. Roll the dice. What happened? It still looks lumpy, right? But it's not as bad as before. I think that was okay. Yeah. I think that was okay. I can live with that. I just need to run one more flake here. Right on this bump. Through there. And hopefully it'll terminate without step fracturing near the middle. I'm going to run a flake through here. And that'll make it nice and tapered. Yes? Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm going to run it with indirect percussion. But I got to fix the edge a little bit first, because it looks too thick. Come on. Yeah. And while I'm here, take some of this off. Come on. All right. Make sure I don't abrade too much. That looks pretty good. It's the edge is low there. It's not abraded too much. It is abraded though. Should be able to do it. Problem is when it's too perfect, it doesn't like it. It wants it to be perfect, but if it's too perfect, it doesn't like it. Uh-oh. I see a step fracture in the future. Yes? Yeah. Well, we can get that from the other side. Yeah, I think I can run a pressure flake to minimize that. I don't know if I'll be able to eliminate it totally. But luckily, we're not overshooting. Yeah. That could have easily been an overshot if it continued down this ridge here. See, there's a ridge right here. It could have continued down that ridge. But it didn't have enough energy. If I had hit it harder, it might have run down that ridge and taken off part of that side. I think we're at the thinness that we need. Yes, hopefully. Almost. I do need to thin it just slightly more, and it'll work for this particular haft. And it's lopsided too, so I need to, yeah. I need to remove material from this side. And probably this side a little bit too, right here. Remove some of this. Move some of that, and it'll be straight. Or at least it'll give me some room to maneuver. Since this is a square bottom notch, that there is room to maneuver, you know, this way and that way at the bottom of the notch, in case I don't get it just right. Yeah. So with pressure flaking, with enough pressure, I think I can do it. If I exert enough pressure, I can clean that stuff up. And pressure flaking requires a little bit different grinding than either indirect percussion or direct percussion. Slightly different, but it's almost imperceptible, so you won't be able to, probably won't be able to see it on the video. It'll look the same. Everything would look always the same. Looks like I'm abrading it the same for everything. But there's slight differences. And it depends on the material. With this one, since it crushes when I'm pressure flaking, no matter what, I tend to use more abrading than I normally would with pressure, with the preparation for pressure. Okay, all right. And there's more abrading down here than up here, because the flakes are going to be longer here, because you need more abrading with the longer flakes. Where is my pressure flaker? Where is that brow tine? I'm looking at it, aren't I? Okay, no, it was underneath something. Okay. All right, I'm not going to explain too much when I do this because I can't be distracted. Okay, the hard part's over. Let me get some water. Yeah, I brought a little jar that I could seal up because I end up spilling my water if I don't put a lid on it. Okay, so yeah, I'm just going to live with the rest of these little step fractures. I'm going to thin down the base now so I can get it hafted. So I'll be doing it with pressure. There's still a risk of snapping in half because I'll be using a lot of pressure down here and it could snap the blade if I hold it too stiff. If I hold it up here, it'll definitely snap the blade in half. I got to hold it down here and let this be free without support of any kind near the tip. I have snapped many obsidian points putting a lot of pressure on the base and holding it up here like that. That creates a bridge. So I hold it down here. Okay. So I think it's still not perfectly straight. There's still a curve in this, but I'm not going to worry too much about that because I don't have all that much accuracy yet to be able to get that curvature out. In order to get curvature out, you do need to have accuracy in the placement of the flakes. Alright, so I got rid of the thick edge on that side. Got rid of the thick edge on that side. Yeah. So I think it might fit now. It fit in straight. That's the thing. It's not only got to fit, but it's got to fit straight. No, we're still messed up. So I'm going to have to put a concavity in that base. Why a concavity? So I can reach that area that it needs to be thinned. I got to get closer to that obstacle. And the concavity is incidental, not intentional. I just need to get closer to that obstacle so I can thin it down for hafting. So putting in a concavity there is incidental. I gotta hit it with indirect percussion. Okay. Or do I? I might be able to do it with pressure, but I'm afraid I break more with pressure, with heavy pressure, than I do with percussion. I might, yeah, let's just go with heavy pressure, even though it's not a good idea, but I don't know. Let's just see. I might be better with my pressure these days than I used to be. That wasn't too bad. Yeah, see the couple of flakes, not too bad. The first one's right there and the next one's right there. Let's see if I can run another one. See, the problem is there's a step fracture right here. See, I could run this one right beside that step fracture, but that's going to stop a flake right there. So I got to come in from right here, perhaps. Let's see. No, I didn't do it. I knew that I didn't do it because it flaked prematurely. You know. What's the solution? More cowbell. I mean concavity. No, more cowbell and concavity. Yeah. More of everything. I don't know. Can it do it? If I don't grind it enough, the flakes release prematurely, so it doesn't do it. So I gotta make sure I braid just enough, not too much, not too little. Let's see. So that flake went pretty good. All right, awesome. There's a lot of inward force, so there's got to be good convexity and not many obstacles, if any, in order to achieve long flakes. I think that might work. It's better. Let's flip it. Yes, it still didn't do it. What can I do? I don't know. I can modify the foreshaft. Yeah, but that's exactly what I don't want to do. Because you make these ahead of time to all the same standard. The notch might actually be crooked on this. Maybe that's the problem. If that's the case, the notch might actually be crooked now that I look at it. So I might be justified in adjusting the notch. Yeah. Justified in adjusting. Now which side needs to be removed? This side? This side needs removal. So you just use it just like a knife. Can you see what I'm doing or not? You can shave the wood just like a knife. It's got to be that sharp edge on it. And you got to make sure that you don't use any prying motion. There can be no prying motion. It has to be a smooth cut. I'm going little by little so I don't try to take off too much at once. If you try to take off too much wood at once, it breaks the edge. But you can get good shavings little by little. So I widened the top. See that? I took about, I don't know, 32nd of an inch off of that. Let's see if that helps. I might have to go deeper into the notch there. Yeah. All right. So I'm going deeper in the notch. See that? I just shaved a bunch of it. I'm going to clear it out. Okay. It's kind of thick. It's not reaching in. Let's go to a thinner area, perhaps. Yeah. I gotta get a thinner flake. It's too thick. Okay. Where are the other flakes? Let's see if this one is thin enough. That's still not thin enough. Might be able to get a thin area on this somewheres, hopefully. No? Yeah, okay, that one might work. Yes. All right. We're messing with that entirely too much. Let's see if it works. Now, it's a little bit better, but I don't know what's going on. Let's see. I don't want to modify the notch anymore. Yeah. Okay, so we'll modify this. Try to figure out what's going on. I think I see it. I think I see a problem. There's a lump right here. If I take that out, I might solve the issue. Yes. Come on, come on. Nope. This area is too thick. Hold on. All right. It's unrelated to the hafting, but I just wanted to thin down that part. Okay, where are we? Yes, much better. Oh yeah, I think that did it. Get straight in there now. Let's see, the other way. Is that even better? Yes, that's even better. Okay, so we got the haft with the thickness done. That's straight. Well, pretty much. I'm not gonna mess with it too much more. Straight enough. Yeah. Alright, so now I just have to shape it and put notches. Someone's making sisal char. All good. If not, drop it and maybe on us and say hello, maybe visit sometime. Explore Florida. What are you guys talking about? Let me check the chat before I move on. Yeah. The hardest part's already done. Okay. I've got about 30 minutes left. And then we can haft it completely. And we don't even need to use this stinking piece. Yeah. Okay. Did my other phone die? My other phone died. Dang it. I'll have to check the chat while it's moving. So let's see. I'm looking for questions. My other phone died, so I gotta use the phone I'm filming with. Let's see. No questions? Yeah. Okay, yeah, no questions. All right, so we'll move on. Yeah, see, my other phone died, so now it's charging. I'll check when I call it quits. I'll check the chat one last time. Okay, all right. If you had a question, if I missed it, I apologize. As usual, I apologize for not responding to questions. But if I can't see them, I can't see them. Okay, so what are we going to do? Yeah, we'll do a northern side notch. Surprise, surprise. Yes, yes. Good, good. Fantastic, fantastic. So I'll do finish the base, finish the notching, and then do the sharpening. When I'm quickly pressure flaking like that, it does not sharpen the edge. It might feel a little bit sharp, but there are better ways to sharpen than that. So right now I'm just shaping and maybe thinning a little bit. Gonna make it symmetrical. Yep, yep. So, yeah, it's gonna be a northern side notch. But I gotta get the symmetry down. Make sure that the edges are nice and straight first. Make sure I get those straight before I do anything else. If I mess up straightening the edges after the notches are in, sometimes it messes up the look of the whole point. So if I'm going to be fixing a mess up, I should do it before the notching, because it's harder to fix a mess up after the notching, because then you got to try to take into account the placement of the notches when you're doing the damage control. So it kind of limits you just slightly on the damage control, what you can do if it already looks, if it looked good with the notches in it, but then you mess up the edge doing the straightening and stuff, believe it or not, the notching will look off a little bit. So I straighten beforehand. Straighten before everything. Take out some lumps. The lumps can also remove. By removing lumps along the edge, I can also lose a lot of edge, like I just did. And again, this is not sharpening, this is just shaping. Sharpening, I put the flakes closer together when I'm sharpening it. That way I can overlap the sharp edges, so there's no dull spots in between. But, you know, there's a lot of times there are dull spots in between anyway, so I just go back and pick those off. So I've seen in other videos, other guys, they'll do this thing that I'm using for shaping, and they'll call that sharpening. Yeah, but no. You're just going to get kind of a sawtooth edge that's not very sharp. And believe it or not, even when you're using obsidian, when you just got a jaggedy sharp, when you just have a jaggedy sawtooth edge, it's not that sharp. It binds. It causes resistance when you've got it. It's too jaggedy. It needs to be fairly smooth and very thin. For best results. Okay, all right. But you don't have to take my word for it. Okay, so I think I got the symmetry. Yep, all right, so let's put the notches in. Let's see. I can try to put the notches in with this thing. Let's see how that works. Yeah. One thing good about obsidian is it notches well. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, let's see. I'm going to try to get in there and expand the notch a little bit, which is thinner. I got to use a thinner one. They're about the same. Let me see if I can fix that. I'm going to cheat. I'm going to cheat and use sandpaper. Where's my sandpaper? Instead of a rock, I'm going to use sandpaper. I think I can get away with thinning this down because I'm using obsidian. So I think it'll work. Usually with chert, you can't thin it down very much. These notchers, unless it's a heat treat, then it gives you some advantage when you got a heat treat. Let's see if this is thin enough. Maybe it is, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to expand the notch here. Supposed to be expanding, but I think I'm hitting the side slightly. Let's see. Oh, I know what it is. I'm applying too much pressure, so it's removing some of the edges, some of the barb, and some of the shoulder, or whatever it's called. I'm using too much pressure. Okay. Yes, yes. All right. Let's start it off with the other one so we don't ruin this one. Oh, already too wide? Yep, probably. We've had a very steady viewership of between 30 and 40. It looks like, at least when I check it, it seems like it's been between 30 and 40 since the beginning of the live stream. Okay, that's good enough. Yeah, okay, so I'm just going to shape and sharpen the edges. And I won't talk much because it's hard to do this without crushing the edges. Or I'll just skip the sharpening. I'll just finish the shaping. I'll sharpen this off camera. All it is when I sharpen is to be more careful and put the flakes and overlap the flakes. Make sure I put the flakes on the right spot to overlap them slightly. These I'm not worried too much about overlapping anything, because if there's dull spots, I'll be sharpening it anyway. I want to make this look symmetrical, so something happened there with that. Other side, I don't know. One side's got a longer ear than the other. These were not symmetrical, the real ones anyway. So I don't know what I'm worried about. But, you know, it looks nice when they're symmetrical. And I may have messed up the placement of the notches slightly, which makes the side look kind of lopsided also. What is going on? And when you center the tip, it also makes it easier to center the point in the haft. So I removed some of the tip and made it go that way a little bit. Anyways, that's how thin it is. That's the basic shape for the northern side notch. Yeah, so let's haft it and be done. The neck across the notches is not quite the same distance or the same width as the wood, but oh well. It's the strongest haft is when the neck is the same width as the wood. We're still not straight completely, but oh well. I don't know what to do about that. We didn't have, for some reason I did not have any trouble with this particular force shaft with other points. It just somehow I'm not able to figure out why it's not doing it. Let's see. It keeps going back to being crooked. It's got to be something that's happening at the base. No, it's not going to do it. All right. Anyways, I can be messing with this all night. Is it off by that much? I guess so. I guess I never took that curve out. That's why it looks like to me the tip is too far that way. So it's still got a curve in it? Yeah, probably so. Yeah, it is probably still, yeah, it's got a little bit of concavity underneath here, yeah. All right, that's why I can't get it in there straight. It's got a curve in it. Slight curve. Okay. That's all right. Let's see. Let me look at the chat here. Lance McElwain is here. I caught a bunch last year. Let's see. Hey, Prairie Goes Ken is here. So we're just going to half this really fast. I'm going to make sure I don't cut myself. Squeeze some pretend hafting glue in there between the wood and the stone, or wood and the obsidian. Fill those gaps. Yeah, I did. Yeah, the further away the notches are from the wood, the more you got to fill that gap. Because you don't want the sinew to be flying out in the air, so to speak. That's what I call it anyway. You don't want the sinew to have gaps underneath. You want everything to be solid. And a nice transition between the stone and the wood. Yeah, it's got a slight curve in it. That's why I couldn't get it straight. Okay? All right. Let's see. I'm going to take a shortcut with the sinew. I'm not going to dip it in water. I'm just going to glue it. So I didn't bring any extra water. Yeah. That'll do it. This is backstrap sinew, so it's nice and long, and it lays flat. Yeah. They probably use backstrap sinew for everything. You can use leg sinew, but backstrap is so nice. Where's my small flake? Oh yeah, I went looking for rocks the other day that I can use for heating up pitch glue. You know, little rocks that have divots in them. I suppose I could use obsidian also for heating up pitch glue. But I got some granite. I'll be doing some outdoor stuff, outdoor videos soon. Oops. Why does that... I don't know. Why did I do that? I don't know. I just wanted this nice and smooth. Okay, so... yeah, I'm going to be doing outdoor stuff in my backyard, in the area where my trees are. Yeah. So I'm setting up a little work area back there. I think this glue is getting a little bit gooey. I need to buy a different bottle of glue. Let's see. All right, so I didn't soak it in water first. And it's brand new, so it looks nice and fresh. Okay. Which way are the fibers going? And I'm gonna get a different kind of glue. I'm also gonna make some hide glue with that Knox gelatin stuff. Yeah, this glue here, I have a feeling it's PVA and not plant starch. So yeah, I've probably been using PVA glue instead of plant starch glue. Oh well. What's the difference between that? It's just plant starch glue is more natural, right? It's not difficult to make a plant starch glue out in the wild. You don't have to use hide glue. Or you can use sugar as your glue. Or pectin, whatever. Yeah. Voila. I just want to dirty it up right there because it matches everything else. Okay, so yeah, that's just I guess that's the bare minimum of what I'd put on there. But it's going to break anyway. You shoot this once, it'll break. Yeah. No worries. The obsidian will break after all that work. It's a one-shot deal with obsidian. That's for sure. Okay? All right. Well, I'm sure there's some guys that have a hunting tale that they can say that maybe their obsidian point didn't break. I think I've seen that before, but not with something that size. I don't know. Maybe there is. Maybe Ryan Gill. Maybe he has an unbroken obsidian point that he used for hunting. But it's pretty rare. I've never had success in preserving obsidian points when I'm shooting. For me, it's always one-shot deals. All right. Why did I bring that up? I don't know. Okay, let's see if my other phone is charged up enough for me to check it. Yeah, okay, I can probably check the chat. Just need to sign in. Okay. Anyways, that's what it looks like. Northern side notch. The neck is kind of wide on these, on this one. I don't know about the ones in the book. I could look that up. The northern side notch came in all different sizes, from huge knives to small points. See, these are a northern side notch. They're small. Those are small, right? But there's also bigger ones. Like that. See? Bigger than the one I made. You got a concave base. Some of them have little kindergarten notches. Some of them have advanced notching. Right there, look at that. Narrow entry. Yeah, some of them have little kindergarten notches and some of them have PhD notches. That's a nice one right there too. But yeah, mine's within range. Look at that one. Okay. Let's see. Let's look at the chat. Western Ninja asks me is that an arrowhead? You're trying to be funny? Because it's funny. If you're not trying to be funny, then it's unintentional, right? I think you're trying to be funny. All right, what do we have going on in the chat? Like that. Yeah, Ralph Snyder says, yeah, it's like that. How about that? Awesome point. Ever made an Evans point? Yeah, I've made Evans points. They're actually easy peasy. They're nice and thick. The notches can be all weird. They don't have to be expanding notches or complicated. But yeah, I've made Evans points. Back in the day, it's been a long time, right? They're not that difficult. So that's why I have not made it lately, because they're not much of a challenge. You probably have some in your area. That's probably why you're asking, right? Let's see, who was asking? KRYT5, yeah. You probably have Evans points in your area. That's why you're asking. Let's see, Stoneface. So you are playing balancing game with the ingredients: pets, asphaltum, and gum. Is pretty simple. Okay. What makes it brittle? Let me see. Stoneface says, I cook the resin until almost all the terps is cooked off. That stiffens the resin. Yeah, it makes it more brittle too. Yep. The pine resin question stems from reading not to let it boil. Is that just internet culture? Yeah, that's just internet culture. You can boil the resin. You can make it bubbly and all that. You don't have to keep it from boiling or bubbling. In fact, sometimes it's better. It depends on the resin. Where I got some stuff. Yeah, I'll show you. What I use is if I just want to go strictly commercial ingredients, I buy the pine rosin that is used for placing on violin bows when you rosin your bow. That type of rosin is very hard and brittle, and then I add, I heat that up, heat up the hard brittle rosin, and then I add pine tar to it to make it more flexible. Pine tar is runny and liquid. Okay, so pine rosin mixed with pine tar in whatever proportion makes the result just the right consistency. But keep in mind that anything pine related has a very low melting point. So it gets sticky fast. It also melts fast. It can ooze out of the joint really fast. And anything else you add to the pine resin doesn't prevent it from melting at a very low melting point. My advice for making pitch glue is just straight rosin plus pine tar, but it depends on how hard the pine rosin is before you start. If it's extremely hard and brittle, like the processed stuff you buy for violin bows, then you're going to need to add pine tar to it, the liquidy pine tar, the stuff that's used for disinfecting animal hooves, for instance. Okay, that's one use for that pine tar. I just mix it until it becomes the right consistency. The recipe you got, ingredients are beef tallow, cattail fluff, sisal, char, and ponderosa pine. Yeah, that's like 5 ingredients you don't need. You don't need beef tallow. You don't need cattail fluff. You don't need sisal char. And you don't need Scots pine resin. Just straight ponderosa pine resin. And if it's not the right consistency, when it's cooled, you add pine tar to make it more flexible, but not too much. Hope that answers it. Someone says beeswax might be added. Yeah, if you're doing a European type of, Stone Age European type of pitch glue, because Native Americans did not have beeswax. Chronic Doom Scroller is here again. Western Ninja says, I'm Pueblo native from New Mexico. Cool. Western Ninja, yeah. I mean, I've seen your username before. I need to place a face with the username. Yeah. KRYT5. That's exactly what I was asking. Yeah, he has Evans points in his area. What does your book show for Pueblo styles from New Mexico? Oh, okay. I drew them in here. These are Pueblo styles from New Mexico. Hold on. I put them on this chamois leather. These are the different Pueblo styles. Most common is this one up here. This one and this one. Now, Taos Pueblo, this is common. These two right here. Now, one of the guys at the Taos Pueblo had some artifacts, and his looked a lot like this one here. Very narrow, very long. The tip was broken off. But that's what he found one that looked like that. Okay, but most of the northern New Mexico Pueblo points are in this range here. These 1, 2, 3, 4. These 4 here. And these are the right size. So they're less than an inch. And a lot of them are like this. And they're kind of rounded off. Everything's kind of rounded. These 3 are northern New Mexico style. Okay, but there, you can also find styles like this, like these in the Pueblos too. There's many different Pueblos. All right, and they vary in their styles. Okay, all right. TJ and Soul says, native bees are in Australia. It's good beeswax. Cool. Western Ninja. Patrick, my name is Dwayne. Oh, Dwayne, I remember you. That was the guy with the artifacts. Yeah. Okay, Dwayne. Yeah, you had an artifact that looked similar to this, but the top was broken off. So that's where I got this idea. Right? I can't remember if... I think the base had a concavity like that, right? Because I looked in that photograph. I looked at the photograph of your artifacts. Let me see. I think I still have a picture of your artifacts here. Let's see. Picture of Dwayne's artifacts. See that I think this narrow one has a concave base, but it might be broken, right? I think you made that one there. The other ones are artifacts. Right, Dwayne? I think you made that one right there. And you can see that they rounded off the stems on these. Let's see, let's go back to the live stream. Explore Florida. How is beeswax utilized? If you're doing a European pitch glue, Stone Age European pitch glue, you use 10% by weight of beeswax. It makes it a little more flexible so it's not so brittle. It doesn't break as easy. But too much beeswax can easily make it way too flexible. Western Ninja, Dwayne, he says, yep, he did make that one. Cool. I remember. Yes, yes. Bill asks, bro, what do you think about those long flute flakes people send down the back from the bottom of the arrowhead? Pretty advanced, huh? Yeah, but it's advanced pressure flaking. It's some kind of pressure technique in most cases with the longer flutes. Percussion can produce long flakes too, but it's dicey. You can get easier and better results with some kind of pressure, right? But you can make long flutes with percussion. Is it advanced? Well, if you consider that you can get good at it by just long hours of practice, the same thing over and over and over again, it's not that advanced. It's just a matter of practicing over and over again. Like shooting a basketball in a hoop. If you can make it in a hoop, over and over again, is that advanced? You're just shooting the ball in the hoop. It's a matter of practice. You know what I mean? So same with Flintknapping. If you can flute something over and over and over again and be pretty reliable at it, is that advanced, or does that just mean you had a lot of practice? Bill says they wrap it in leather and hit it with a copper bopper. Oh yeah, that's one technique. Yeah, I've seen that. Let's see. Your laughter says most people use rigs for long flutes. Yeah, or jigs. They're called jigs. Yeah, they use jigs for the long flutes. They use something called a chest crutch sometimes. Or there's also these jigs called Solberger jigs or Sahlberger jigs. That was the first point I ever made. That's really darn good for the first point, Dwayne. That's good. Yeah. Perry Goes Ken says he's mixed Cree and Anishinaabe from Canada. Awesome. Straight ponderosa pine is pretty brittle though. Turns to dust when I pinched it. Yeah, that's been drying too long. I was looking at ponderosa pine when I was in Taos, New Mexico. If it dries on the tree for too long, it gets really brittle. You got to use it before it starts getting that dry and crackly. Or just add some pine tar to it. Western Ninja lateral dart points or air points are different. Okay. So I'm looking for questions. If there's no questions, then, or no more questions, I will end the stream here. Let's see. Loblolly Pine, yeah, that has good resin. Mike Mason wanted to say thank you, Pat and Alan. You're welcome. Shutter Dog received a gift membership. Alan Cole sent one gift membership. Thanks, Alan. Awesome. Creek Ninja Landry. I started watching late and I have been wondering about what those little red points were made of. Then just realized they were just good drawings. Thanks for the awesome video. You're very welcome. Yeah, I'm going to try to draw as many of these arrowheads as I can, different types, mainly from Texas and the Southwest. There's not enough room on this piece of chamois leather to put all the different types of arrow points from throughout the United States. These are from Texas here. These are from New Mexico. Let's see, anything else? Anybody try pinion tar, Western Ninja? Pinion pine tar? Or resin? If it's the resin, yeah, it works okay. I don't like pinion pine tar or resin. It's kind of brittle. I've been looking into what they used to use back in the day in New Mexico. And they used a substance very similar to shellac. It's actually produced by a lac bug that is native to the Southwest United States. So you can find the lac bug and the secretions on plants like the creosote bush. So what that means is, if you want something authentic to the Southwest, New Mexico, Arizona, northern Mexico, use shellac. You can use shellac as your glue for arrowheads. The only trouble with that is the high melting point. It has an extremely high melting point, so you've got to get it very hot in order to apply it. And I think they used to apply it with little stick, like a little chisel type stick. But they used it on their pottery and for their arrowheads. That shellac type stuff. I just need to try to find a creosote bush next time I go down to New Mexico or West Texas and see if I can get a hold of some of that natural shellac. I never thought that there'd be a native animal, insect in the United States that produces a shellac type substance. But yeah, there is. And it was used throughout the Southwest. And it works really well because it has an extremely high melting point. Here's a question, says TJ. What color are your socks? You can see what color my socks are because I exposed myself. These are dark gray. Bill says, I got Comanche chert today, going home to depot to build the tools soon. Yep, you got Comanche chert? The stuff I was napping yesterday? I just called it Comanche chert as a nickname, but I think you're trying to be funny. But don't take my word for it, you know. I mean, I just made that up. Mm-hmm. You guys are funny. Okay, let's see. I've been online for 2 hours and 30 minutes. Okay, I'm going to call it a night. Yep. Bill says, no, it's from Comanche. Ordered it before your video. I see. Okay. So you did get some Comanche chert, some of the real stuff. Okay. All right, everybody, I'm going to say goodnight. Take care. We'll see you tomorrow night. Same time, same place. All righty? Take care. Bye-bye.